Welcome to the Basic Texture Creation Tutorial 102, brought to you by modsonline.com. In this episode, I'm going to explain to you how to get a texture with an alpha channel working in Call of Duty 2. This is important for creating decals for walls, textures for shading or blending, things like that. Or if you have a texture that is solid in areas and see-through or not solid in others. So without any further ado, let's get at it. I'm not going to go too far into the actual creation of the DDS texture with the alpha channel. There's lots of tutorials on the web for that, but I'll give you a little quick rundown of what it looks like and how to do it, how to go about it. So what I've done is I've just grabbed a stock image out of the game, and it's in the main folder if you want to grab it yourself, and import it into Adobe Photoshop. What I'm going to do now is create an alpha texture. Right now we have an RGB image, which is red, green, blue. Okay, so we've got a 3-channel image. I'm going to create an additional channel, an alpha channel, and I just do that by clicking this button, and I now have an alpha channel. It's black, which means that entire image is now turned clear. One thing to know about an alpha channel is if it's black, it's clear. If it's white, it's solid. Black, not solid; white, solid. Okay, so we do have actually our image below that, which you can see I just turned off the alpha channel view, and our image is still behind it. Okay, how you go about getting this area back here behind the lettering, getting that so it's not solid, not visible, so that all we're going to end up seeing is the Call of Duty lettering. What we need to do is we need to paint the alpha channel. Make sure you've selected your alpha channel. Okay, grab white in your color, and basically grab the brush and paint with white what you want to actually be rendered. If you leave it black, it's going to maintain transparency and be non-solid during gameplay. So it's not a fast process by any sort of means. That's why I can't actually make this whole texture during the tutorial, but I can give you an idea of how to go about it, right? So all I'm doing is I'm painting with very basic white and a round brush, and just kind of hazarding guesses where this ends, where it starts. It's not actually imperative that you get it dead on, but the cleaner you can do it, the better, right? Now, if you noticed up here, I've taken too much out. I'll come into that a bit so you can see it. I've taken a little bit too much out of here, so all I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn that back to black and come around and paint it back in. Okay. Again, like I said, it's not something I'm going to go through the whole process of this with you in this tutorial. It would end up being far too long. So, but there's basically the process to create an alpha channel for your texture, and you can make it look as good as much time as you want to put into it. Alright, so that's the process, and if you notice, it's actually probably pretty small right there, but you can actually see as you carve it out, it changes in your view down here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the alpha texture that I've already created and exported to DDS. So I'll just open up my DDS texture that I've created already. I have exported it with MIP maps, and that's what it looks like. Right? it has my alpha channel, and if I turn off my RGB, you can see my alpha channel. I've got the black where I want it to be visible. Here, let me zoom in for you a little bit. Right? The black is going to be invisible, the white is going to be solid. And if I turn on my layer again, my RGB, you'll see that this black area here, these black ones, are actually where the spaces between the bars are. Right? So there we go. Okay? So when you go to export this or save it as a DDS, you create your DDS. Okay, I've got use existing bitmaps. You're going to generate bitmaps on a new image. Make sure it's in the DXT3 format. Generate bitmaps and save it. Okay. Now that that part's done. Oh, sorry. I should have told you to save it to Call of Duty 2 main images folder, and that's where we've put it. Same as with the Textures 101 tutorial. I'm reusing that images folder that we created there. So from there, we want to go to the Asset Manager, and we're going to create a new material. And this one we're going to call grading for obvious reasons. And yeah, looks all familiar. One thing I do want to right now correct myself. In the 101 tutorial, I incorrectly told you to select multiplicative. It works, your texture would work, but it would not show impact marks. In order for your texture to show impact marks, you have to select default. And I apologize for any confusion that's may have caused. It's just something that came to light, and I figured I'd pass it on in this way. Okay, so our material type is going to be a world fong again. Our sort is going to be default. Surface type, this is where we pick how this texture reacts, and it's important to know that this is only going to affect the textured areas of your texture. The clear area, or the area that you painted black in the alpha channel, will not be affected by this. So because I made my texture metal grading, I'm going to use metal, and we're going to have this in the floor section. I've gone and added the fix, gone in and added my name as a section for the locales. There's instructions out on how to do this at modsonline.com in the tutorial section. It definitely makes things easier to find and locate on your personal machine. So I'm going to make this texture findable in the StrYdeR locale in the floor area. Here, the blend function is how we get our alpha blending, or our alpha channel to work. Basically, all you got to do is click add. This stays at back, this stays at none, this stays always, less equal, auto, 0. This stays like that. Okay, so all you have to do is change this to add. Your color map is, of course, your texture. So we select our texture and we're good to go. So now we're going to save, and it's going to ask us for a game data file again because I didn't load one. So I'll just save the game data file as StrYdeR, and we'll go ahead and we'll convert our current asset. Okay, and bam, it's done. And that we can now bring into our editor a new texture that we've created with an alpha channel. And I'm not going to go and build an entire map to show you this texture, or compile it and show it to you in the editor. Just take for granted that it works here. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw out a brush, and we're going to put a case texture on that. Okay, that's solid, you can't see through it. Disco floor. Okay, And then we're going to draw another brush on top of that. Actually, we'll draw it a little bit bigger so that it covers it and we can see that it's doing that. Okay. Control Tab to switch to the side view. I'm going to pick that up above it. Okay. Still looks pretty disco-y to me. Right. So now we're going to select our usage. Where do we put that? We put that in floors. Still lots there to select from, so let's narrow it down to the locale of StrYdeR. There it is, grading. Okay, now it's grading. You see that? We can see through it. You see right through to the bottom. I don't know if I'll do this. There. So you can see through it. I'll change that back to textures showing use. Okay. I'll just change this because it's still selected. I'll change our grading back to the disco floor. Oh, I think it's still selected. Shift. Now it's selected. Now it's a disco floor. Okay. Definitely can't see through it. Now it's the grading. We can see it. We can see that our grading's there, and we can see through it to the disco floor. It is a alpha channel texture. And that's it. Congratulations. If you followed this through, you should now have a alpha channel texture that you can use in your custom map.